Well, it's a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Friday lunchtime. It's the only time I could fit this in, so I don't know how many people are watching, but I hope you're all doing well. Um, I was meant to do this preview of the game against Sunderland this morning, but of course, breaking news about the likes of Edson Alvarez and various other players potentially leaving West Ham sort of took precedence. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with those stories over the course of the next few weeks. And after all the prep and the talk and the debates and the agreements and the disagreements amongst fans as to what should and shouldn't be happening at West Ham, the 25-26 Premier League season has finally arrived. Less than 24 hours to go. No, I'll tell a lie. 25 hours to go. It's 1 o'clock now. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff, a rare start, a 3 o'clock Saturday kickoff. And we visit, of course, Sunderland for the first full season under Graham Potter. So far, with just over 2 weeks remaining in the transfer window, Graham Potter has signed 4 players, as we know. El Hadji Malik Diouf, Carl Walker-Peters, Callum Wilson, and Mads Hermansen. It's going to be interesting to see who else we add to this list. But Potter does have a few other faces available to him who are new to him, who weren't there during last season. And they include Maxwell Cornet, take it or leave it, Naif Gerd, and then youngsters, Freddie Potts, George Earthy, Callum Marshall, and Lewis Orford. Now, I don't honestly expect every single one of these players to be making too big a mark in the Premier League this season. Naif Gerd, absolutely. I think Maxwell Cornet is likely to be sold before the transfer window is shut or certainly loaned out. I think Freddie Potts has certainly stamped his authority on this new team and should be starting on Saturday. And I'll come to team selection in a moment. And then when you look at the likes of George Earthy, who's currently injured, and Callum Marshall and Lewis Orford, I think of those 3 players, I think at this moment in time, Callum Marshall is the one that could be making the bigger shout to be part of this senior squad moving forward. Now, at this moment in time, however, there's still a lot to do with regards to getting a final squad together for Graham Potter. With the news that Edson Alvarez could be leaving, amongst others, I'm expecting us to not be finished in the transfer window, but it's not going to be before we visit Sunderland on Saturday. So look out for what else is going to be happening over the coming weeks in terms of transfers. But Graham Potter has got it, whatever the squad he's got available to him now, and he'll be going to Sunderland, hoping that we can get a positive result. Now, I've got my theories as to who will be starting. I'll come to that, like I said, in a moment. But let's focus on Sunderland themselves. Now, the last time we played them was back in the 2016-2017 season when Winston Reid got the winner. 90th minute goal to beat them 2-1 at home. Now, last season, Sunderland finished in 4th in the Championship, and they had to get to the Premier League through the hard way. They finished with 73 points, which was a massive, whopping 24 points behind champions Leeds United and second place Burnley. Now, spare a thought for Sheffield United, who finished on 90 points but did not make it through the playoffs. So, as far as these 3 promoted teams are concerned, they were promoted with not a stronger record as far as Sunderland are concerned, they were promoted with not as strong a record as Burnley and Leeds United. But they battled their way through the playoff. Like I said, they beat Coventry City 3-2 on aggregate over 2 legs. And then, of course, they met Sheffield United in the playoff final where they won 2-1. Since then, they played a number of friendlies throughout pre-season, and they haven't fared so well. But let's get it right. Friendlies are there to get match fit. It's not so much about what the results are like. But They've been extremely busy in the transfer window, and they've spent nothing short of £150 million, bringing in no fewer than 11 players. And it's been suggested that their transfer window is not over yet. Puts us to shame a little bit, doesn't it? Their most expensive signing is central midfielder Habib Diarra from Strasbourg, where they spent around £30 million for the 21-year-old. And after that, they brought in other players such as Simon Adingra from Brighton for about 22 million. Roma central midfielder, 25-year-old Enzo Laffi for a fee of about 21 million. But they've also brought in experience as well. Granit Xhaka, having signed from them from Bayer Leverkusen, as well as getting a familiar name in to all West Ham fans, left wing back Arthur Masuaku, a free signing from Besiktas. They've spent well, and they've spent wisely. Well, I guess it will be wise if they stay in the Premier League. Their intention is that the Premier League is not going to be a one-season wonder as it was for the last three promoted clubs last season, where they were relegated straight back down to the Championship. And when it comes to picking off clubs, I think Sunderland will believe that they'll be able to get points from the likes of West Ham United. They would have seen our form last season. They would have seen that we struggled, and we will surely be a target for most clubs who are going to look for survival, if not more, in the Premier League next season. Their first game back in the Premier League for 8 years. The atmosphere at the Stadium of Light is surely going to be electric and very intimidating, I would think. It's not going to be an easy game for West Ham, and we're going to have to keep our nerve and our resolve. Now, I couldn't possibly tell you who will be in Sunderland's starting lineup, given that they purchased so many players, but their starting lineup in the friendly, they played 2 friendlies recently, one after the other on a Saturday and a Sunday. The friendly against Valencia was giving fringe players or new players that they've just signed a bit of game time. They lost 3-0 to Valencia, but Enzo Laffi, who was brought into that game, but he was quite a late signing, I believe. But in the previous game, the friendly on Saturday that they played against Augsburg, a German club, they won 1-0, and it included 6 new signings, which included their new goalie, Rofes, who was linked to West Ham. Xhaka was also involved as well. So I see a number of new faces probably in the starting lineup this coming Saturday against West Ham. I've mentioned Granit Xhaka. He's been made captain for the Black Cats this coming season. And at 32 years of age, experienced midfielder, he's going to be quite an important asset to their team in terms of how they fare in the Premier League. And he's a pretty formidable signing, a pretty decent signing for them. In central attack, I think Alessia Mayanda is likely to lead the line, who scored 10 goals last season, and is expected to be the starter. Now, manager Libri has confirmed that, like I said, he will be making a late call on a number of other players that have come in. For example, whether he plays Masuaku or not. Masuaku could be on the subs bench and possibly come on making a substitution appearance late in the game. Now, Régis Lebris has only had one main managerial role before Sunderland, and that was at French club Lorient in the French league. He took over at Sunderland last season, helped them to win promotion, and he's adapted to using a 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1 formation at Sunderland, and is more likely to keep one of those formations when in the Premier League this season. His coaching approach is very much possession-style football. He tends to use the slow build-up approach to draw opposition defenders out of position. So for West Ham, we're going to have to play a patient game and not get sucked into their tactics. Now, regardless of the tactics, Lebris may or may not use... regardless of the tactics that Lebris may or may not use, for West Ham, we're going to have to stay focused. We're going to have to not get sucked into the atmosphere, and we're going to have to try and make sure that we don't give Sunderland an added impetus by playing too deep, too defensively. After all, as I've mentioned, it's their first game in the Premier League for 8 years. they're going to be bang up for it. But what about us? I'm going to come to your comments in a moment, so do bear with me. But what about us? We're still not the finished article, are we? And despite transfer markets suggesting that we've spent near on £80 million in transfers this summer, the figure is obviously overinflated, with the obvious confirmation that Jean-Claire Todibo has now moved from being a loan signing to a permanent signing. In essence, we have spent next to nothing in this transfer window, and it's rightly created a huge concern amongst the fan base. Look, I don't always advocate that you've got to spend big. That's not always the answer. But whilst we knew that we were not going to be wholesale player purchases because of financial constraints, we thought that perhaps we'd have at least, one or two new central midfielders by now added to the squad well before the start of the season. It's certainly what Graham Potter wanted. It's painfully obvious how awful our central midfield has been over the last couple of seasons. And that is the one area that we've yet to improve. And even if we do improve it, what are we going to get in as the transfer window starts coming to a close? Look, we come off the back of a very decent summer pre-season, and there is energy in the squad. There's a good atmosphere amongst the players, which is good to see. Now, Potter, he'll probably stay with his preferred 3-5-2 formation almost exclusively throughout pre-season. He used that, and I expect him to use that formation in the starting lineup against Sunderland on Saturday. But who is going to play? Well, this is my lineup for the game on Saturday. I think Areola it's his place to lose at this moment in time. I could be wrong. Maybe Hermansen will be thrown in straight away. But I think possibly at this moment in time, Areola is likely to keep his place. Back three, I think is going to be obvious. Todibo, Kilman and Agurd. I think the wing backs will be Diouf and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And then the big question mark over who starts in the middle of the park. I think Freddie Potts has earned his place. I think he will be in that pivot role. I think whether we like it or not, it's going to be James Ward-Prowse alongside Lucas Paquetá in the middle. And I think Bowen will be supporting Nicholas Füllkrug up front. Now, our bench, if Hermansen doesn't start, then obviously he'll be on the bench. We've got options at the back. We've got Carl Walker-Peters and we've got Ollie Scarles, as well as Dinos Mavropanos on the bench as well. Now, I'm a bit torn as to who I was going to put in on the bench in terms of midfield subs. I've gone with Alvarez and I've gone with Irving. I could be wrong there as well. There's also Souček as well, and there's also Guilherme for pace. And of course, up front, there's Callum Wilson. The players that will miss out, George Earthy and both Crescencio Somerville are still injured. When I look at other players, Emerson, well, I talked a lot about him on Thursday, as well as talked about him again this morning. Looks like he'll be missing out, and looks like he'll be another player that will be leaving the club. Foderingham is third choice keeper anyway. I think Cornet will be leaving. I think Rodriguez will be leaving, hence why I've gone for Irving at this moment in time. And of course, there's Lewis Orford and Callum Marshall, who again, I don't think will be making the bench. So the players on the bench, as I've said, will be Hermansen if he doesn't start, Carl Walker-Peters and Ollie Scarles. I think, like I said, Dinos will be there. And I've gone for Irving and Alvarez, even though Alvarez looks like he could be leaving the club as well as Souček, Guilherme and Callum Wilson. Tell me who you think will be in the starting lineup. I'd be interested to see what you think. Now, look, midfield, let's not lie. It's a concern that Ward-Prowse is favoured, but it looks like Graham Potter at this moment in time doesn't have an awful lot of options, given that quite a few players are likely to be walking out the door before the summer transfer window shuts. Look, he's a decent player, but I don't think he's a Premier League proven player, or certainly not a starter anymore, James Ward-Prowse. We know that Lucas Paquetá can 1 minute be a match winner and the next be, losing matches for us. He didn't have a particularly good game against Lille last weekend, but I think he will be nailed on to be starting. I will be pleased for Potts to start, absolutely, and will be utterly gutted if he's dropped in favour of any other midfielder. Now, unless we get ourselves a dynamic box-to-box midfielder before the transfer window shuts, then we're going to have to rely on our pace down the flanks. Malik is useful. He's got pace. He's got great speed. And he's also demonstrated what a sweet left foot he has. Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the other side, of course, is very dependable as well. But it's all about central midfield, isn't it? It's what happens there. Despite the unknown of Sunderland and the uncertainty of West Ham, and given that I always talk with glass half full, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win, away win, with Nicholas Fulkrug continuing his pre-season goal-scoring form, and I'm going to go for a Callum Wilson winner, where he comes on from the bench and grabs a vital late winning goal. Will it be a performance that I think is going to give us a lot of hope? Probably not. I think Sunderland are going to be right on it. I think Sunderland are going to really put us under the cosh, and it's not going to be an easy game to win without a shadow of a doubt. I think quite possibly even Sunderland might go ahead in this game and will have it all to do. It's all about midfield. At this moment in time, from the signings that I've seen Sunderland make, it looks like Sunderland will have a much stronger midfield than we will have. And that's where the game sometimes is won and lost. I know a lot of people talk about, well, you need a good keeper. Of course you need good players all over the pitch. You need a good keeper. You need good defenders. You need a good striker to latch onto opportunities. But midfield, in a way, if you don't strengthen that midfield, that's where the game could be won or lost. And I worry. I won't lie. I worry about midfield. I worry about the atmosphere. I'll be going up there along with a number of mates to be at the game. And we're looking forward to it, but apprehensively so as well. Right. Let's see what you have in your comments. This was I wasn't sure if I was going to do this lunchtime show. It's not the sort of thing I do. So I don't know how many people are watching, but I hope you're enjoying it. So, William, good afternoon to you. Are you looking forward to the match? Apprehensively so. Can't wait to get the season started and hope at least we get a box-to-box midfielder. Absolutely agree. Michael, question. Can we improve our home record this season? If not, we are in deep trouble. I think we're going to win 2-1 at Sunderland. I think that too. Yes, I'm looking forward to trying to improve the home form, but it's also down to the fans as well. We've got to try and build that atmosphere up and try and make it intimidating for the opposition. Guido off to the Saudi League usual. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yuha, good afternoon. We are all here. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Good afternoon to you, Dexter. How are you? Hope a decent summer break. Thank you very much. Will be good to be back amongst the Hammers up at Sunderland. I think we'll get off to a good start. Nice positivity. Frog, good afternoon to you. We're all doing well, aren't we? Graham, good afternoon, mate. I will almost be too scared to watch tomorrow's game. Thank you for asking, by the way, Graham, about membership. You can see scrolling down the bottom how to become a subscriber and how to become a member. All you've got to do is follow the link that's scrolling along the bottom. If you're new to the channel and you've yet to subscribe, please do. If you enjoy the content and you want to support the channel, please consider becoming a member of the channel as well. Make West Ham great again. Stell, did the Shed Man get lucky again in the Senior Source Away Day ballot? I don't know. He's been away on business, and I don't know if he'll make the game, to be honest with you. I haven't heard from him for a while. Charles, Sheffield United, may hearts bleed for them, not. Well, yeah, fair play, Charles. I hope you're well, Charles. Josh, good afternoon to you as well. Yes, I will be going to tomorrow's game. Going to be a long day because I'm going to make it there and back on the same day. That's going to be a long day. Looking forward to watching us play again. Despite the pessimism, it'll relieve a lot of stress to start with a win. It would indeed, mate. Let's hope we get that win that we're all craving for. Jay, good afternoon to you. Oops, Jay, good afternoon to you. Sunderland is sounding like a decent day. They've done well. When I hear comments from West Ham United saying, well, we've got to find players who are going to improve this squad, it does my head in a little bit, because this is the same comments that we've heard in the past. Every time we're slow on buying players, it's all because we can't find players that are going to improve this squad. Come on, people. We know that that's a load of baloney, and there are a lot of players out there. Look, I do think we'll do business, especially with the news that we're likely to get rid of as many as something like, 5 or 6 players. So at this moment in time, if you haven't watched this morning's show, at this moment in time, Edson Alvarez is looking like he's leaving the club. There's interest in Germany. I heard there's also possible interest from his previous club, Ajax, but Ajax can't afford him. we will not be loaning out Edson Alvarez. It will be a sale. Why? Because we need the money to strengthen in that area of the park. So Edson Alvarez looks like he'll be leaving. We know fringe players that like Maxwell Cornet. Graham Potter has already suggested that Cornet needs to get game time, and it's not likely to happen at West Ham. It could do, but I think it's highly unlikely. Who else is possibly leaving? Guido Rodriguez has been mentioned, looking like possibly going to a Saudi club. So let's listen out for that. Who else? Oh, damn, I wish I'd written them down because I had them in this morning's show. There's a number of other players that could be leaving. So Andy Irving, it looks like there's Scottish interest in him as well. Now, we made a bid for Piers Charles, the Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper. So why have we done that with Mads Hermansen having come in? It sounds as if quite possibly that even Alphonse Areola could be leaving before the transfer window shuts. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. John, good afternoon to you. We'll be knocking on the door of Europe come April. We get off to a 3-1 win at Sunderland. Sunderland's players need to adjust to the Premier League and to each other. I wish them well after Saturday. Yeah, I like that positivity. Make West Ham great again. Xhaka is an excellent signing. How did they manage that? They paid £17.5 million for him. Look, Xhaka's an interesting one. If we'd have got him, would West Ham fans have been happy? 32 years of age, 32 coming up to 33 years of age, massive amount of experience. But how happy would we have been if we paid £17.5 million for a 32, 33-year-old? I guarantee you a lot of fans would have been very unhappy. Mr. Rolf, how are you? We're back on the road again. Thank you for watching, lads. You keep your eyes on the road, and I hope you're both doing well. Iron Disciple, good afternoon to you. Sullivan is the worst owner of anything. Well, you know, we're getting the same old nonsense from Sullivan, I'm afraid, and it doesn't bode well. Frog, nothing would surprise me this season. Positives are there, but a lot of clubs were shockingly bad last season. We could easily have been where Sunderland have just come from. Very, very true. Iron. He's going to throw joint. I think he will. I think he absolutely will. So long as it's not at the expense of Freddie Potts, I think we're going to have to accept that James Ward-Prowse is going to be in the starting lineup on Saturday. Disciple, the invisible man. Make West Ham great again. Ward-Prowse is the Boo Boys' new favourite to pick on. Look, I don't want to pick on him. I think personally, James Ward-Prowse would make a good substitute. I don't necessarily think James Ward-Prowse would make a good starter. That's my thinking, unfortunately. Good morning, Ian from Jamaica. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining all the way out there. I hope all is well with you. Frog, I hope Potter proves us all wrong with James Ward-Prowse. He's seeing something I failed to detect since his return. Look, James Ward-Prowse is a steady pair of hands. It's as simple as that. James Ward-Prowse will give Potter what Potter wants in terms of delivery of how he wants the game to be played. Passing the ball, moving the ball, etc. That is the way James Ward-Prowse works. And Potter knows he can rely on him for that. You know, would he be my choice? Not personally, no. Daniela, good afternoon to you. A 2-1 win to West Ham. That's good positivity. James, how are you, mate? Looks as though Forest are going to get Fernandes, McAtee, and Louise. All three. I would be very, very surprised, James, if they get all three. One, maybe. All three. Depends on who else is leaving that club, doesn't it? Jackie, good afternoon to you. Just ready for the disappointment of seeing no Potts and James Ward-Prowse starting. I think James Ward-Prowse will start, but I think Potts will also start. Peter, good afternoon to you. He's no longer a Premier League player, I'm afraid. James Ward-Prowse, like I said, a good substitute, but no longer a starter for me. Daniela, Sunderland have bought a lot of players, but is it too many? Well, we've seen promoted clubs do that, haven't we? We've seen promoted clubs go out and buy a hell of a lot of players, and it hasn't always worked for them. And then they're left with a big headache and a big wage bill if they get relegated. Graham, good afternoon to you. 2-1 seems fair. Let's hope so. It will be a tough 2-1. Won't be an easy ride. Lightel, good afternoon to you. Every ground in the country should be empty. Every ground in the country. Why should it be empty? What's more important, 3 points or 3 kids? You're losing me, I'm afraid, mate. You're going to have to explain, elaborate. Ian, it's probably the best formation with what we have available. Potter loves James Ward-Prowse, won't drop him. The wife says a 2-1 win. The wife is very astute. John, sorry. Xhaka is past his best. Put Alvarez against him and we can play 10 aside. That's fair play. I think he brings a lot of experience. It's going to be interesting to see how he fares, but it will bring them an awful lot of experience. Good afternoon to you, Steve. I hope you're well. Thank you very much. As for West Ham, in all my near 60 years, we've been relegated and won European Cup, but I've never been so concerned with the drop this year. I'm not concerned yet. I want to see how the season goes. I want to see how it pans out. I want to see what Graham Potter can do with these players. But as I said in the show I did this morning, the one thing that you can't teach certain players who are, established players like Souček, you can't teach him to run faster. Like James Ward-Prowse, you can't teach him to run faster. Souček and Ward-Prowse, you can't teach them to be box-to-box midfielders. They are what they are. They have their specialties, but they are the kind of players that they are. And what we need is a really pacey, strong box-to-box midfielder that I'm hoping to God we go out and get. Darren, Sunderland have bought lots of players that will take time to play well together. I fancy us tomorrow, 2-1 win. What do you think the score? I think it will be 2-1 as well. Daniela, other fans don't fear coming to our stadium. We need to change that, and only fans can do that. We do need to build up the atmosphere. 2 up, 2 down. How are you, mate? Thank you for joining. Peter, good afternoon to you as well. Looking at your earlier video, I was shocked you make scripts for your shows. Scripts in terms of, I've got bullet points. My memory's poor. I'm 63, mate. If I try to remember everything I wanted to say, it'll be like long blanks in between each sentence. I make scripts. I'm not talking about a script, but I've got bullet points so I can refer to it and go, oh, yeah, I need to mention that and I need to mention it. If I don't do that, mate, I'd be completely lost, Peter. But there's an awful lot of ad-libbing as well. Make West Ham great again. Daniela, spot on. Too many have a negative attitude and just expect atmosphere to appear, but don't want to do anything to make it happen. And that's true. It's down to us. Of course, it works both ways. Of course, we've got to have something to cheer about. But the singing, the one thing I'm looking forward to, I think I might have said it right at the start when the fixtures were put out. The one thing I'm looking forward to is going away, the first game away. It can actually be really good for us because the away atmosphere is electric. Not only will it be electric for the home fans because after 8 years, Sunderland are back in the Premier League, but for West Ham fans as well, going to an away day, it's just, it's tiring, but boy, the atmosphere is great. And if only we can bring that atmosphere, that away atmosphere back to the London Stadium. Daniela, I think we will have a better season than we think. I think we still need to work on transfers, but I really hope you're right there. Fiona, good afternoon to you. Your posts are so refreshing and positive. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Too many fans are negative. Let's make a noise at the London Stadium. Absolutely, Fiona. I agree with that. Yuha, good afternoon to you, mate. Dango Owata, cross Brentford, 42 million, and will not even spend 30, and we won't spend 30 million. But look, I get the whole thing about, it annoys the hell out of me, but I get the whole thing about FFP, PSR, and all that baloney. I get it. We're working to constraints, but then you get players accordingly. You don't have to spend, with respect, you don't have to spend 30, 40 million pounds to get a good player. You can spend half that, and this is what worries me in terms of what's been happening in the background. Carl McCauley, I'm sure, has got a list of players as long as your arm who are valued at 15, 20, 25 million pounds. Why we're not going out and getting them, I really don't know. So we don't have to spend that sort of money. And look, and to be honest, I'm not having to go at you, Yuha, but in the past, spending that sort of money, where has that led to? We spent 30, 35 million on Edson Alvarez. We spent 30, 35 million, 36 million on Mohamed Kudus. And now, because we don't have European football, they're off. Players throwing their toys out of the pram because we haven't got European football is quite disturbing and quite annoying. So when you're buying players of that value, their expectation is that you're going to be giving them something more. That's why they're coming to you, and that's why you're spending that sort of money, the guarantee of European football. I know Brentford aren't in Europe, but maybe that's the expectation. Whereas at West Ham United, we're not at that. Look, I think what we've done in the past, we've torn ourselves a new one in the past, where we've gone out and spent a lot of money on players because there was European football to offer, etc., etc. That's now backfired. Now that we don't have that to offer, we shouldn't be looking at the market of 40 million pound players. Fernandes himself has kind of alluded to, and I know everyone got excited. Oh, Fernandes has told Southampton, I want to leave the club. He's only told Southampton, I want to leave the club because he wants to play at a high level, not just playing on Premier League, but he thinks he's worthy of playing in a team that's going to be offering European football, whether that be in the Premier League or whether that be abroad. We've got to stop spending that sort of money. We've got to use the Macaulay model that he honed so well at Brighton and bring in players who are 15, 20, 25 million pounds and then hope that they're the next best thing. That's why we've got Diouf in. I'm hoping that after a season or two, Diouf will be worth double the money that we bought him for. And of course, we don't want to sell our good players, but then you sell and reinvest and buy the next batch of good players, and then you keep one or two who are going to drive you on. That's what I think we should be doing and should have been doing for a hell of a long time. Long answer to a short comment. Sorry, Yuha. Wasn't having a go at you. Was just saying in general. 2 up. Please take time. Thank you very much. Do like, subscribe, become a channel subscriber. Look across the bottom, the scroll. Shows you how to subscribe to the channel. And also, if you want to be generous and become a member, please do so as well. 8 Barley. Forest got Amari Hutchinson and McAtee. Cannot see them also needing Fernandes. This is it. You can buy too many players sometimes, and it's not necessarily good. Make West Ham great again. The fans aren't always right regarding Zaha. Remember, many social media fans turned their nose up at Scott McTominay. Very good point. And look how good he has been, McTominay. Wouldn't you want a McTominay in West Ham United right now? I wouldn't mind. Peter, need to silence the crowd early doors tomorrow. Potty Potter wants a small squad that can cause problems when the injuries start. Well, we haven't got a small squad at this moment in time. We've got a very big squad. Forget the lineup at the moment, but look at the size of that. That's 28 players at this moment in time. I know Caelan Casey has already been loaned out to Swansea, but otherwise, at this moment in time, if I'm not mistaken, we've got 11 players on the pitch, another 9 players on substitute bench, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 28 players in the current squad. All right, you could argue, take the academy players out of the equation. So even if you took George Earthy out, even if you took Lewis Orford out, even if you took Callum Marshall out, that would still be 25 players. Okay, let's say we sell the players that I've already mentioned. Edson Alvarez, apparently Andy Irving is another player that could be leaving. Already mentioned that Guido Rodriguez is likely to be leaving. Who's that player down there? Down there next to Rodriguez. See, that's them. That's my memory. Maxwell Cornet could be another player leaving. Oh, Emerson is another player. So we could be losing, including Areola as well. We could be losing up to 6 players. Now, if we do and take out the academy players as well, that's 19 players. We will need a couple of more players to bring in. So it's a big squad. It's an inflated squad at the moment. So at the moment, we haven't got a small squad, to be honest with you. So, but if we do sell 6 players, and if you do take out the academy players, I make you right, Peter. We may have a problem when injuries start hitting. Josh, where realistically do you think we'll finish? Do you think the fear of relegation is warranted? I personally do not think we will finish better than 14th. I do feel the fear of relegation is warranted. I understand why fans think that. We had a really poor season last season. At this moment in time, we still don't have a really, really strong squad. Do I think that will happen, though? No, I don't think it will. You've got to also look at some of these teams that have lost quite a lot of their players to some of the bigger teams, like the likes of Brentford and Brighton, Nottingham Forest, etc. I'm not suggesting any of them will be in a relegation dogfight, but I think 1 or 2 teams are going to be surprised that they may not be doing as well as they might think they should be doing next season. I think we'll finish mid-table. I think 14th might be all right, might be the sort of finish that we'll get. Will we finish in the top half of the table? Probably not. Will we finish just above the relegation zone? I don't think we will do that either. The Cat, good afternoon to you. Many still haven't figured out that James Ward-Prowse wasn't brought to the club by Potter, but he's utilising a player who will without question do what Potter asks him. Totally agree. Absolutely right. Make West Ham great. Exactly, Kat. He agrees with you. Daniela, according to the Sun Sports page, we're the 12th highest spenders this window. Not great, but look, it's been inflated because they've included in there the £40 million purchase of Jean-Claire Todibo. You take that out, and we're not big spenders at all. Josh, I cannot stand Ward-Prowse. His play is shocking. I'll be disappointed if we start booing our own players. We never do that. I was really, really, really disappointed last season when fans were turning on Dinos Mavropanos. Every time he came on, he was booed for coming on as a sub. Every time he touched the ball, he was being booed. That's outrageous. We should never do that with our players. Doesn't matter what you think of them. You may not think they're the best player in the world, but at the same time, you do not boo your own player. I do hate this possession for the sake of possession rubbish. Look, it's the way Potter wants to play his game. So long as we've got the players that are effective enough to do that, then that's fine. Frog, the most fans know James Ward-Prowse return. I think most fans know Ward-Prowse return from loan at Nottingham Forest, where he wasn't wanted. Make West Ham great. Josh, that's not Ward-Prowse's fault. That's Potter's instructions. Yeah. Ricky, sorry. Who starts in goal on Saturday? Well, I've kind of gone for Areola, but I won't be surprised if Hermansen is thrown straight in there. I kind of think at this moment in time, it's Areola's position to lose rather than just being dropped. But it's going to be interesting. Look, we're all going to have our favourites. It's not that I'm picking Areola as a favourite, but I think at this moment in time, out of respect, it's Areola's position to lose. The Cat. Make West Ham great. Thanks. I simply can't understand the dislike for him. And this is the beginning of a toxic swell. We should never look, our players are our players, whether we think they're good enough or not. Look how Arthur was lauded as being great for West Ham. I never thought he was good at all. And yet a lot of fans thought he was fantastic, even though he always lost the ball. John, Ward-Prowse is a good player. Souček is a good player. We all want better, but let's get behind them. Souček gives us 10 goals a season without his assist. Very true. Good point. Eddie, good afternoon, mate. Oh, good evening from the Philippines. How are you? Thank you for watching. Midfield is still a disaster. It's going to take an above-average player to make any improvement. We do need, don't deny it, we do need to strengthen that central midfield. Frog. The Cat, what can I say? I don't think Ward-Prowse is up to much. Should I say otherwise? It's fair. I think we've all got our views on players. And rightly so. How boring would life be if we all agreed? We've all got our views on players. Some of us think some players are better than others and so on. And that's absolutely fine. But whilst they're playing for us, I guess we're right. We should be respectful of them whilst they're wearing the West Ham shirt. Ricky, do you think Potter will have a surprise up his sleeve? Or can every West Ham name their starting 11, Areola, Todibo, Kilman, Gerd, Diouf, Wan-Bissaka, Potts, Pac-Man, Ward-Prowse, Bowen, and Fulkrug. There you go. That's what I think at this moment in time. Do I think he'll have something up his sleeve? Well, everyone's advocating for young Mohamedou Kante, 19-year-old under-21 player, who we bought last summer, but was kept on loan at his home club, Paris FC, who won promotion into the League One. The French league. Now, a lot of fans are saying, look, he had a great game against Woking in midweek and he should be coming into this starting lineup. Of course, he shouldn't be coming into this starting lineup. Should we have him on the bench? Yeah, possibly. Why not have him on the bench? If Alvarez is leaving, why not have him on the bench instead of Alvarez, and bring him on if need be? He looked great, didn't he? He looked good. But a half hour playing for the under-21s doesn't automatically make you a Premier League player. So that could be the surprise up his sleeve, Ricky. Let's get rid of that. What is the money from the new? From Robert? What is the money from the new loan for? How can it be used with all this stuff? PSB. I don't know. Is the honest answer. I've asked the question and I've asked it about 3 times, and there's a deathly silence. We do not know why we're borrowing even more money when we already made a big bank loan from, I think, Barclays. It's all very strange. It's all very, I don't want to say it's sinister because I've got no clue. I would love to think that it's money going to be used for transfers. But if we're about to sell the likes of Edson Alvarez that will bring over 30 million, or bloody better do, then we shouldn't need to borrow money to bring in more players. Do not know, mate. I really don't, Robert, and I'm trying to find the answer. Cat, Frog, fair enough, but direct your annoyance at the chairman, not at the players who wear the shirt and would run through bricks for us. Look, that's the thing. We've got to be together. You know, rightly so. We've got opinions about players. We like them, we don't like them, or whatever. I've got opinions about players. But whilst they wear that shirt, it's a bit like the Callum Wilson situation. None of us like the signing, but I'll get behind him. And if he scores the goals that we need, hey, who am I to argue? Kiyose, hi Stella, welcome back, Kiyose. So, who would you prefer for us to buy in this window? Who would I prefer for us to buy in this window? You know what? I know there's a lot of clamour for Fernandes. I wasn't that enamoured by him, to be honest with you. I want a proper box-to-box midfielder. You can take your pick. I mean, I'm trying to keep up to date with all the latest rumours that are coming out, but certainly not El Canous from Leicester. I don't think he'll be the box-to-box midfielder that we need. Fernandes, possibly, but for the right price. I don't know, mate. I'm reading so many stories about so many players. I did talk about Yunus Musa from AC Milan. It looks like he'll be surplus to requirements, and I think Napoli are looking at trying to get him, but I don't think that they can agree on a deal. Now, he's not a prolific. I think it was the Cat that told me. It could have been, no, it was someone else, sorry, that told me about Yunus Musa in terms of his attacking play. He's not very prolific in front of goal, but he's a very good box-to-box midfielder who might just fit the bill for what we need. What about Ngao Ayul Mukau from what a abomination the way I pronounce that name, Mukau from Lille? He looked really, really good last weekend. He's only 20 years of age, but he looked quite good. But then many would argue, well, 19-year-old Mohamedou Kante might be the Mukau of tomorrow. We already have a player like that. Yunus Musa was an interesting one for me. Yes, he will not be prolific in front of goal, but as a box-to-box midfielder, a solid rock of a player who can try and sort of combine the defence, midfield, etc., might be the sort of player that I wouldn't mind having. I still harbour thoughts for Harvey Elliott. He still hasn't gone anywhere, even though Red Bull Leipzig are interested in him. I still wouldn't mind that. I still wouldn't mind McAtee. I don't know. Has he actually signed for Nottingham Forest? I know they're interested in him, but I still wouldn't mind McAtee either. Alex, let's put 10 quid on a top four finish this season. Mark my word. Wow, mate. Be a good bet. Daniela. I think we're going to have a youth squad more. We're going to use the youth squad more, which is not a bad thing. Well, no, it's not a bad thing. We keep hearing about, use the youth. Well, what if Graham Potter uses the youth and doesn't buy anyone else? Would we be happy with that? Michael, heard Forest are in for Fernandes of Southampton. Yes, I've heard that too. Frog, the Cat, players running through brick walls is what I've expected from my players for over 60 years. Didn't see much of that going on last season. Absolutely. Good afternoon, GP. I hope you're well. Kim Joe, good afternoon to you. If we lose tomorrow and not get a midfielder in the next week, the fans are about to kick off. I agree with that, Kim Joe. I agree. If we lose, and if we lose badly, and if it's because of the midfield, you're absolutely correct. The fan base will go into meltdown. I've also been around that long. Which part of that last season are you speaking of? And which manager? Robert, 3-1 to us. Come on, you Irons. Frog. Oyo, GP, where have you been? Where have you been, GP? Daniela. Also, European football going to take it out of squads that are not used to it. Absolutely. 100% James, never boo. Absolutely. I totally agree. GP, I feel this is going to be a great season. If we finish in Europe, we'll still go topless. I'll be happy to, but not bottomless. Ronnie, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. See you tomorrow, mate. What train are you catching up there tomorrow? And let me know. Iron Disciple. JWP in the midfield is the invisible man. Yes, not his fault. Schizo, how are you, mate? I haven't seen you for a while. I'm just joining. I'm growing more worried about this season. Potter is going to have to squeeze a lot out of our squad. I'm not confident he can squeeze enough. Ronnie, isn't Areola possibly being shipped out? Yes, mate. I'll do a recap in a minute and bring you up to date. There is talk about that. Yeah. John, still, I think we would do well. The camp is happy, and that stands for a lot. A decent, happy camp could bring in a couple of extra points. Absolutely. Le Renegade. Any thoughts on what this new line of credit is for? No, mate. I've been asked, and I've asked the question, and no one seems to know. It's a bit of a mystery. Daniela, the fact that fact that some might not realize is in the last 21 games, we only lost 9, but none more than by 1 goal, and over half of them between March and April. That's a really good point. It's a really good point, but we still lost. The cat, I thought that Potter's remit was to save us from relegation. You're not blaming him for what went before, are you? Let's not argue. Conversation, absolutely. Let's not turn it into a bum fight. Mark, just saw the message from the Philippines, so I thought I would say good evening from Hong Kong. Asian Hammers well presented, Mark. Thank you for joining, mate, all the way from Hong Kong. Iron Disciple. That's right, Le Renegade. Another credit card for Sully Brady. I can't wait till the next episode of the Circus cartoon. Peter Alvarez, if he wants to stay, the club should do all they can to keep him. He's what West Ham need. Yes, he is. But if he doesn't want to stay, then 4-0 tomorrow. We'll spunk all over Sunderland. GP, well, I hope you're right, mate. John, we'll finish above Spurs, Everton, Forest. I hope for 9th, even 8th. That's positivity for you. The cat, direct your energies at Sully. I'll leave you guys to continue that conversation. Ian, I like Alvarez and Souček, would like to keep them. Others can go. Boo at full time, but not when a player comes on. Put yourself in their place running on. Absolutely. Usual. So McAtee has already gone to Forest. Okay, thank you for updating me. John, Kante was on loan at his old club, but didn't get enough playing time. He's now picking up his fitness. He'll be part of the first team squad in a few months. He was indeed. So what happened with Kante, if you don't already know? Mohamedou Kante was purchased by Stuyden last summer. Paris FC and West Ham agreed to keep Kante on loan to give him more game time, to build up his sharpness, his fitness, game time, etc., etc. Unfortunately, during last season, Paris FC were bought out by, I think it's Louis Vuitton and Red Bull, or a combination of the two. And they decided, well, we're not going to continue nurturing a player that's no longer ours. So he sat in on the subs bench for an awful long time. He ended up getting game time right at the end. Now he's come to West Ham. He was part of the US squad, which was fantastic to see. He didn't get any game time. He was one of just a few players who didn't get any game time out in America, but he was part of the senior US squad. He's now back. He is picking up his match fitness, and he's looking good. Is he ready for the Premier League? I do not know. Jay, I'm a true Elliot. Is it true that Elliot has got no interest in West Ham? That's what we keep hearing, but we don't know. Until you put a bid in, you never know. Ronnie, why are we paying 30 million for midfielders where there are 10 million equivalents? We're not, mate. That's the thing. We're not paying 30 million for midfielders, hence not buying Fernandes. 10:30. You might be on the same train as me. I'm going to have to look at it, and I'll message you later on, mate. Oliver, good afternoon. Sunderland are closing on a deal for Nordi Mukilele. PSG given green light as well as the player. They are buying. Sometimes they've already got 11 players. Sometimes you can buy a few too many. Kim Joe, Sullivan's taking money out of the club again. Class. I'm not backing him. I'm not protecting him. It's not his money to take. This is the club's money. Aaron, good afternoon to you. Got to miss the show. I'm stuck at work, unfortunately. Just nipped in whilst on. Hello, Aaron. John, gone for Chelsea at 15-2 for the title, and us for the FA Cup. I would love a cup run. I would love a proper get to a final. I'm Disciple. 2-1, first half and 20 minutes of holding on. Second half, pulling through. A win is my prediction. I'm predicting Callum Wilson will get the winner. I'm Disciple. Kante has been looking very good. Can tell he may have to get a bit more seasoned under a few shots throughout the season. Could see him stepping up in the next, or making for a future for himself. Jamie B, thank you for becoming a member. Look at that. You get green lighted if you become a member. Thank you, mate. I really, really appreciate that. Right, let's just recap then on what I've said. So, we'll go back to just to sort of finish up, and then I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Now, we've got 4 new players, as you already know. We bought in. Let's move that. Let's get that. That looks better. We've got 4 new players, as I'm sure you already know. We've got Callum Wilson. We've got Carl Walker-Peters. we've got Mads Hermansson and El Hadji Malik Diouf. I'm really looking forward to how Malik Diouf does this season. Really looking forward to it. But in addition to that, Graham Potter does have an additional 6 new faces that he didn't work with last season. Of course, Naifa Gerd, Maxwell Cornet, and then the 4 academy players, George Earthy, who's currently out injured, Freddie Potts, Callum Marshall, and Lewis Orford. Now, I believe that Maxwell Cornet is likely to leave before the transfer window shuts. George Earthy, it looks like Potter is going to give him an opportunity when he comes back from injury. So it looks like he'll be there or thereabouts in the senior squad. Freddie Potts, I think he's a nailed on, and I think Callum Marshall will also be part of the senior squad. Lewis Orford, I'm not so sure. I think maybe Lewis Orford might go out on loan. Look, the last time we played them in the 2016-17 season, it was Reed who scored the late winner. Sunderland, as we know, they came up to the Premier League through the hard way, beating Sheffield United 2-1 in the playoff. They have spent money. They bought the likes of Habib Diarra, who's their most expensive signing so far. Or maybe now, with news that they're signing even more players, maybe he won't be their most expensive signing. They bought experience as well. Granit Xhaka, who's the new captain of their team. Leading the line, I think Mayenda is going to lead the line. He scored 10 goals for them last season. Their manager plays a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3 kind of formation, and I think he'll be sort of aiming to keep that. And it's all about possession base for Regis Lebris. It's all about keeping possession, trying to draw the opposition out from their positions in order to create space behind us. We've got to look out for that. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. They're back after 8 years. They're going to be chomping at the bit, Sunderland, to do really, really well. And they're going to be looking at the likes of West Ham United to get points from. That's what they're going to be targeting, clubs like us to pick points from. So they're going to be very, very up for it. But the good thing about us is away days. It seems to be less pressure. For some reason, there seems to be less pressure away from home than there is at home. And that could bode well for us. Look, I think our starting lineup, with possibly only the goalkeeper to be of contention, it's going to be this. I think Areola is likely to be preferred. More going to be about him trying to keep his place in the team rather than being dropped. Now, if he makes a mistake, then Mads Hermansson is going to be right there to take over. I think our back 3 is going to be Todibo, Kilman, and Agurd, with our wing-back options being provided by Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Malik Diouf. I think our middle, that's the bit that I've been really sort of struggling with. But I think our midfield 3 on Saturday is going to be James Ward-Prowse, going to be Freddie Potts and Paquetá. And I think supporting Kilman up front is going to be supporting our striker up front is going to be Jared Bowen. See, that's where my names. It's really, that is old age when you're looking at a player's picture and you keep forgetting what his bloody name is. But anyway, you know what I mean. You can see it there. In terms of who's going to be on the sub bench, if Hermansson doesn't start, I think, Fulkrug, of course. If Hermansson doesn't start, he'll be on the bench. I think our 3 defensive players on the bench is likely to be Carl Walker-Peters, Ollie Scarles, and Dinos Mavropanos. I think our 4 midfielders are likely to be Irving, Alvarez, Souček, and Guilherme. And our striker up front on the bench is likely to be Callum Wilson. Look, the news is that we could be losing a number of players. Edson Alvarez is looking likely to be leaving. There's talk about Andy Irving likely to be leaving as well. There's talk about Maxwell Cornet leaving, Rodriguez as well, and possibly Emerson. And we made a bid this week for Piers Charles, the goalkeeper from Sheffield Wednesday. So there's a possibility that Areola could be leaving as well. A lot of changes happening. Now, for me, even if we do lose all of those players, as far as I'm concerned, we still need, if we lose Alvarez, I've said this throughout the whole week, if we lose Alvarez plus another couple of players, I'm expecting 2 midfielders to come in. If we don't, if we don't lose any players, I'm still expecting 1 midfielder to come in, and that'll be it. Right, last few comments, and then I'll leave you to your afternoon. Jay, Alvarez probably requested to leave as he's not happy at the moment. Then why give him the number 4 shirt? Maybe giving him the number 4 shirt was something that Potter wanted to do, but it wasn't enough for Alvarez, and maybe he has requested to leave. It's a good point. Saidi, good afternoon to you. With Chelsea and Nottingham Forest up next, 3 points here will be huge momentum. I agree. Totally agree. Steve, good afternoon to you. I agree with earlier comments. Keep Souček as super sub and get what you can for Ward-Prowse. At least he will push up without a nosebleed and don't need a free kick to get a touch. Glenn, iron touch of Pogba. What's a touch of Pogba? GP, I feel Bowen and a fit Fulkrug can get 25 plus goals. Yeah, I'll go with that. Afternoon to you, Anthony. I hope you're well. I don't know what you could see, but thank you for agreeing. And Glenn, plus Jimmy, Louise G could be more goals in this side. Diouf will provide an awful lot of goals. I think he'll create an awful lot. I think Guilherme is going to be a player that will come good this season. I think we've got decent players, but I just still would be just that bit more happier if we do sell all these players and we get at least another couple of midfielders in central midfield. Anthony, I see Potts and Kante replacing Ward-Prowse and Souček. Kante has a touch of the Pogbas. Yeah, good shout. And I'll leave you with that. People, thank you for joining me this afternoon. Really much appreciated. I will be back with more shows. Join me tomorrow on the way there. I don't know if I do anything before the game, but certainly after the game, watch out for the post-match review after the game, and watch out for the goals. All the goals that we score will certainly be coming up on the channel as well. Like I said, if you've enjoyed the content, if you want to become a subscriber of this channel, please click on the link that's scrolling across the bottom. And if you're feeling generous, please become a member as well. No obligation to become a member, but if you want to support the channel, please do so. Everyone have a great weekend, as Yuha has said. Josh, the atmosphere at the stadium is, let's all be honest, down to us to generate. Given how negative we all are, we're not going to generate much. We need to give them a boost as much as giving us one. Absolutely agree. Glenn, United, Jamie B, no pace in centre midfield. That's a concern. Fingers crossed for Kante. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for watching. Do leave your comments, and I will see you all very soon. The season is now upon us. 25 hours away it is. Come on, West Ham.